All right, day number 5 of my 40-day water fast for 2023. Yeah, so let's real quick. First thing I notice, let's see. These are little bit. They seem like they seem to be a little bit less reddish today than they were yesterday. These psoriasis patches here. It's it's still very prominent, but overall, it's looking like a little, like at least a shade or so more pinkish, less reddish, and a little bit more in a lighter pinkish tone now. So, I know last time I was saying that I'm thinking it's going to be at least 2 weeks before I really notice anything, but actually today I'm already noticing it, like at least a shade or so lighter. Still a little itchy, but maybe overall not quite so itchy today. So anyways, yeah, so that's so I'm definitely looking forward to just like this completely remissing. So, but who knows? Maybe we'll get to, maybe you'll clear up sooner than 2 weeks. I don't know, but yeah. So then, in terms of the numbers, let's see here. So today, I had another big drop in the weight. It went from, yesterday was 210.2, and today when I weighed myself, it was an even 208. So far, from starting from day 1 till now, went from 217.4 pounds, I'm down to 208 pounds. So that's already a pretty significant change. I mean, 9.6 pound difference. I believe that's what yeah. So approaching 10-pound drop. I mean, over a 9-pound drop in the 5 days. So I know, obviously, a couple of pounds of that is glycogen in the muscles, stomach bacteria, just, more, hydration in the muscles, a lot of those things. So I know that typically it could be at least 10 pounds total worth of all that comes out, and that over the course of the fast, and so that right when you refeed and rehydrate, that the weight typically, at least my experience, the weight typically jumps back up about 10 pounds. So wherever I end the fast at, I know that as soon as I'm just eating food again and rehydrating fully again, and having the glycogen restoring my muscles and my muscles getting fully rehydrated and puffed back up again, that whatever I end up, it'll be add 10 pounds to that basically. So that's generally a good rule of thumb, and not get surprised or shocked or something, or disappointed saying, oh, I got down to 160 and I'm like 48 hours later I'm back to 170 or something. That's just kind of part of what to expect. So if you have, like, a final target weight, pretty much need to aim for at least 10 pounds past that during the fast, so that when you eat again, you'll then settle back into your target weight, if that's the intention. But obviously I'm doing a pretty long fast, so the vast majority of people would never even attempt this. So pH still the same, 5.75, still on a bit more on the acidic side. Still just drank a few say like probably 2.5 liters of water with the electrolytes. Um, Ketones definitely went up today, by a pretty, fairly significant margin. Yesterday, I was reading about 2, which was starting to go into the optimal zone, and then today it was at a 4. So it's definitely way into the optimal zone now. So a lot higher than 4. It means it's like pretty high. So even if it just stays at 4 the whole time, then that's perfectly great. So went to sleep about 1:30 last night. Definitely stayed up a lot later for various. I was finishing watching The Peripheral, so finished watching the season, and then I was just kind of had a few things in my mind that I was just working on and finishing up, and then so before I knew it was 1:30 in the morning. But this time I definitely didn't feel as like an energy just kind of massive drop off like I had in the previous days, or like I think around like between day 2 and day 3 kind of thing, where I could feel the drop in energy, especially I think like on day 3 I could feel like, oh, boom, whereas this time not didn't really experience that. It was more of a subtle, all right, actually it's pretty damn late, I just got to get to sleep, and feeling a little sleepy, but not like massive energy drop. So that's a big improvement. But also because I went to bed fairly late, I got out of bed kind of late as well. Got out of bed at like 9:30. Woke up before that, but just kind of just lied there. I didn't have anything to do until 10 a.m., so I basically just stayed in bed and just kept resting. Yeah, so overall today, definitely my head feels better, like that stuffy, little kind of crackly stuffiness, kind of like a weird crackly feeling and stuffiness in my head that I was having yesterday and the day before that. Today it's noticeably lessened, so I overall it feels like it's gone, mostly faded away now. So I'm definitely feeling more clear-headed, noticeably more clear-headed today, lighter, literally and figuratively, energetically. I feel, like more intense feeling of emptiness, and just feeling like, oh shit, is something wrong kind of feeling. That wasn't, I didn't notice that kind of sensation this morning. I felt a little bit of the emptiness feeling, but it felt much more subtle this morning. And I also, so it felt more subtle. Heart rate is still periodically kind of feels like it's kind of beating a little faster than usual, but today it was just a little bit more, and whenever that happened I could just just breathe, just practice breathing deep, slow, long breaths, and then that just kind of calmed it all down, and then it just felt kind of pretty much normal again. So I had another NLP class today, and so today I definitely, I again took a short little nap at one point, but it felt more like optional as opposed to necessary, as the other day, where I definitely was like, boom, falling, like my head's dropping, and I just had so much no feeling of energy. This time it was just like, it just kind of feels like a good idea. And overall, today was definitely, class went better for me energy wise, and just more clear headedness. I definitely felt a little bit sharper, a little bit more on my toes, a little more energetic. I mean, energy wise, muscle wise, I still feel, I definitely notice a feeling of like a slowdown in my muscles feeling, like a lower, it's like a low power mode kind of sensation in my muscles. So, that's still prominent. But my overall cognitive sense of energy seems more stable. It feels like it's stabilized more, and it's not as, like, oh man, it's like a struggle to get up. So today wasn't quite, it wasn't, it was still a little bit of struggle to get up, but not very bad, not too bad. It was decent. It's mostly just the need to, go to the bathroom. That kind of motivated me to just get up and out of bed. And yeah, so yeah, in general, from times that I've experimented with fasting in the past, I found on average that usually getting to day 5 was like the day that, you get to the end of day 5. Usually by then things have kind of stabilized and you've kind of settled in, and that you're, the worst of the initial hunger pangs and some, the initial withdrawal symptoms from whatever substances and foods and processed things that you'd been consuming, that you have the worst, like, body's like, please eat that. Usually by day 5, it's either basically gone or has diminished, significantly enough to where it's like there isn't really much willpower needed anymore. It's just kind of like, okay, this is what I'm doing now. I'm on this water fast and I'm just doing this thing. And there's the feeling of temptation to eat different things feels way, way more diminished today. I'll walk by different things, but there's a bit more of like I almost describe it as like a disassociation from different foods that I see around me now. Like I walk by it and yeah, I'm already having this feeling of like, not this thought of, ooh, if only I could eat that. It's more of a, oh, it's this thing kind of sensation. It's just this object. It's an object sitting there on the counter or on the shelf or whatever. Or it's like, oh man, I can't believe I ever ate that shit kind of thought. It's more of like those kind of thoughts and relationship with it now, which is part of what makes this fasting process very fascinating, is to actually, when you drop into that more more disassociated, but it's like a good kind of disassociation where it's like you're just like, I don't need that, instead of it being it's like disassociating the same way that it's like someone who's like addicted to something, and now they no longer have those addiction cravings, and now they just either feel neutral towards that substance or object or food or whatever, or there's a bit of a like, a slight like repulsion about it now. You're just like, ugh, it's like, man, what the hell? This is like garbage. Even then it's kind of hard to like be too emotional, be too feeling about it, because there's just the feelings about consuming it are just mostly non-existent now. That's kind of what I'm describing as. And again, it's a very odd sensation, because it's just like, this would make, it's like feel this way more often. I think when you don't have tons of bad bacteria in your gut, in your microbiome, that it's the bad bacteria that been feeding with all the high sugar foods and garbage foods that you feed them, and now they're craving that stuff. So when you don't feed them and you just stick to a super clean diet and just basically never consume garbage food, that then a lot of those cravings and sensations for the garbage food doesn't return unless you start feeding it. And so you can have a more neutral emotional feeling stance towards junk food if you totally cleanse it fully out of your system and then don't touch it at all. As long as you don't touch it at all, then you don't feed the bacteria that tell you to crave it. So so that's another thing that's part of my plan at the end of this fast is to do that. It's just not worth it to eat some junk food, because I just know eating junk food will encourage eating more junk food. Not having the first bite of any of the junk food will perpetuate the sensation experience of not having any desire to eat the junk food, not having any physical cravings to eat the junk food. So I just practice falling in love with only eating healthy, nurturing food. Only eating food that does me good, gives my body what it needs, and then just don't have any. It's all the processed shit that fucks us up. And I know that it's part of why I have all these psoriasis patches, is because of the damn processed junk foods and all the inflammatory ingredients that just triggered this immune response in my system. So I just know as long as I don't consume that shit, then I don't have these kind of breakouts, and so that's it. What else? Yeah. So, well, tomorrow I'm going to be attempting to jump back into a little bit of a light remodeling job. Don't know how well that's going to go. But I just need to at least do a decent enough job and get through it. Like I said, it's definitely not optimal that I'm in the middle of this fast and then trying to do that. And it's basically this next week, I've got a few days where I'm working, but I'm going to just keep the movements minimal, and just try to stay focused on different little things and don't move around fast too much, kind of thing. Avoid too much carrying, too much physical exertion, keeping movements efficient, small and efficient movements, and just like I said, at least do a decent enough job. I'm not looking, I'm not trying to be super high performance tomorrow. It's efficient, like good enough efficient performance is what I'm aiming for. Otherwise, I just gonna overexert my body in its current state, and I don't want to be burning up an excess amount of lean muscle tissue as a result of working too hard during this fast. So but I've already, like I said in the previous video, I already accepted that I'm gonna probably lose a little bit of muscle as a result of having to do a bit more physical work. But I'm not like doing moving, or I'm not doing like a moving job per se, so I think I got a little bit of organizing, but it's mostly small moving, like just picking up and moving like little small objects around. But need to make a little bit of money right now, so I can't turn it down at the moment. So I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet, and gonna have to lose a little bit of lean muscle tissue, unfortunately. So well, just have to work a little harder after the fast, do a little bit harder workouts, build back any muscle I lost, plus I was planning on, my intention is to add some muscle after the water fast, get back into a good intense weightlifting routine that will aid in, because I'm just looking for 2023. My intention is to totally transform my body into, just like get into killer shape. This is the year that I am done with being overweight and a little flabby and stuff like that. I'm just like, screw that shit, so. And I have to owe a lot to just a big awakening experience that I had over New Year's, that just something finally opened up. Maybe I'll make a little recording, just sharing my story about that in another video, because that easily can take a bit of time to describe that one. But after that, I just knew that this won't do anymore. My new self, new way of being, demands that I be in killer shape. So I guess just continue on this journey with me, and and so see the results, and later on I'll be taking more photos. I've been taking photos along the way, but I'll at some point I'll make another video and that just kind of include different photos. But I want to get to a point where I have some really good after photos first before I show the pre photos. So, all right. Anyways, that's where I'm at for today. So, on to day 6. All right.